How important is it to smell good as a guy? Does it have any impact on your success? And does it enhance or take away from who you are and the perception that people will build around you? My name is Mwenesi, and in this video, I'd like us to discuss fragrances and scents for men and certain do's and don'ts and myths about smelling good and the fragrance game. This is Get Yours. Anybody who knows me knows that besides obviously the clothes and the shoes and whatever, I do have a specific weakness for fragrances and for scents. I am a bit of a collector, and maybe at some point we will start our own mini series on different fragrances because it's something that I'm so passionate about. I love fragrances. I love scents. I'm anytime, I would say that fragrances consume maybe 50 to 60% of my thinking in the image consulting world, and it's just a personal thing for me. It's a personal hobby. I enjoy it, and I want to share with you in this video my thoughts on scent. So obviously, asking the first question on whether smelling good for a man or not, if you were to ask me, by now you already know the answer. Of course you have to smell good. This is a no-brainer in my opinion. Smelling good as a man is important. It signals your presence. It makes you stand out. It brings people closer to you, especially if the scent is good. And depending on the occasion as well, it allows people to know that you are someone who pays attention to their hygiene and their grooming, and that makes you comfortable to be around, to deal with, and approachable and friendly, and all of the other good positive qualities that make doing close contact engagement possible. Obviously nowadays with the coronavirus and our need to have face masks, perhaps wearing a fragrance or a scent might not be as important or as necessary, but I still strongly believe that the better you smell, the higher your chances of being engaged, being approached will be, and that is kind of like 50% of the battle won, similarly to how you look. I remember when I started my very first Get Yours video, I talked about how you look, how you smell, how you walk, how you talk. These things matter. And one of them being your smell, because this is one of the 5 senses on how we as individuals interact with our environment. Smell is a signal to the human being to tell us whether something is favorable or unfavorable. And the more favorable you smell, it will trigger certain feelings of favor when it comes to dealing with you. I'm not joking, I'm actually serious. If you smell good, it will trigger feelings of favor with you. So people will inherently want to do favors for you. They will want to be, positive towards you just by the way you smell. One thing, before I get into the full-on discussion of, considerations about fragrance, I must point out that fragrance is different from deodorant, because deodorant is there to deodorize. It is supposed to remove or mask odor. A fragrance does not do that. So if you put on a fragrance after you've come out of the shower and you're ready to go and do your business, and you believe in your mind that you are now ready to take on the day and you don't need to put on a roll-on or a deodorizing spray or something that will keep the odor at bay, and all you're relying on is your scent, then guys, you are barking up the wrong tree. Please, please, please make sure that you pay attention to deodorant. You first deodorize and then you can apply your fragrance. Now, there is a caveat, and I want to talk about very briefly certain things that you need to pay attention to as a guy when you're putting on your fragrance, or when you're choosing a fragrance, when you are dealing with fragrances. The first aspect is it pays to have a signature scent, and a signature scent is one of those things that you'll know that this is Mwenesi, because he wears this over and over and over and over and over, and it has become his signature. It has become his staple, such that when he is in a room and he leaves, you will know Mwenesi was here. It announces me, and it will leave me lingering when I'm no longer in the room. And so that signature scent, that thing that is synonymous with you. And choosing a signature scent takes a bit of time. And my advice is, have a couple of testers. Speak to the people in the fragrance stores. They are experts, and they will be able to tell you these would be the ideal signature scents. And a signature scent is one that you need to be able to wear all year round. We are in Kenya where we don't have harsh weather, we don't have winter, we don't have summer, we don't have those kinds of extremes, but we do have cooler weather. We have, like now, this is June, July, this is a period where the weather is a little bit cooler, and there will be months where it is quite hot, where it's quite warm, where it's humid. So you want a scent that can do the business throughout each and every single occasion, every single weather situation, and those signature scents there are many. I don't want to go into the details of the types of scents, but the first thing that you need to pay attention to is having a signature scent is useful. I don't necessarily consider it a must, but if you're the kind of guy who doesn't want to think too much about what am I going to smell like today, similarly to what am I going to wear today. If you don't want to have those conversations with yourself, pick one or two. And my suggestion is have a signature scent for everyday use, and then have a signature scent for occasions or evening wear. Because whenever you're having occasions or evening wear, there is going to be a bit of a difference because the air is going to be much cooler, and in occasions you might want to have a bit more of a lasting and more projection in your scent, because you will be engaging with people and you want that scent to project as much as possible, especially when you're in a crowded environment. Which brings me to the second consideration. Whenever you're choosing a scent, think of things, you must pay attention to things like projection, which is how far the scent will project and sort of emanate from your body. Think of things like performance, which means how long it lasts on you, because some scents will, and the typical performance across the fragrance categories, whether you're talking about the weakest, and I say weakest loosely because again, these are not exact terms, but when you talk of performance, you're talking about your colognes. Whenever you hear the word cologne, that is the most water-based type of fragrance. Then you have your eau de toilette, which is a little bit of water concentration, but more essential perfume oils than you would have in a cologne. Then you have your eau de parfum, which is more concentration of your essential oils, and then you have your parfum, which is your highest concentration of oils. Now, these have to do with performance, and the other thing, which is sillage, which is the scent trail that your scent will leave. So your performance, your projection, and your sillage are things that you want to consider whenever you're getting a fragrance. The third aspect that you need to think about is, and I think I touched on it when I was talking about signature scents, is have scents that are have a different range of scents that are versatile, especially one that is, and this is for the guys who don't want to have just one signature scent, but you want to have a range. If you're going to have a range, think of a cold weather scent, something that is a bit more heavy, pungent, musky. It has a little bit more of a sweeter, more aromatic, more pungent, heavier scent, because it cuts through cold weather nicely. Then have one for warmer weather, and this is where you don't want to wear something that is so thick and heavy like musk or oud or something like that, but you want something a bit more fresh, more aquatic if it's for summer weather. So a warm weather, a cool weather fragrance, an event weather fragrance, or what you call for dating, if you want to go on dates and you want to be in a closed environment with a lot of people. And then one which you can wear every day for office, for work, something that is a workhorse. They call them workhorse fragrance, something that is going to go the distance. So if you can have in your fragrance basket these 4 fragrances: warm weather, cool weather, event or date weather, or dating fragrance, and your day-to-day work type, then you'll be good to go. And then it's a question now of supplementing these 4 categories and seeing the different styles, the different types of fragrances that exist out there. The last thing I want to mention is application. When it comes to wearing fragrances, there is something as too much, and there's something as pointless. Like, why would you do that? For example, the the thing that I've seen that people do of spraying a mist cloud and then walking into it, that's a complete waste of fragrance, because I don't know. I don't even know why people do that. Maybe, you know, you don't want to be offensive, but that type of thing is a waste, and you're going to waste the fragrance. It won't last in the air. You won't have performance. You won't have sillage. You won't have projection. It's just, you know, it'll last on you for maybe a couple of minutes, and then that's it. So don't spray it in the air. What you want to do is you want to find areas where there's the warmer areas of your body. So anywhere where there's a lot of blood flow. So the typical areas would be on your shoulders, where there's a lot of blood moving through there. Obviously your neck area, where there are pulse points where you can feel that there's blood flowing through there. You can apply it here as well, but the danger with here is because we use our hands a lot, it will, you know, because of washing and whatever, it will disappear somewhat. But around areas where you have your veins and there's blood movement, that's where you want to apply. And for me, there's something called the rule of 3 to 5. 3 being on the conservative side, where you just want to have just enough, especially if it's a stronger projecting fragrance, which is the eau de parfum or eau de toilette type. You want to just have maybe 3 to 4 sprays. If it's a colonia or something that is a little bit fresher, maybe you can go up to 5. And if you are, you know, going out to an event where there's going to be a lot of people and there are going to be a lot of competing fragrances in the air, maybe you can do 5 to 6 sprays in those areas that I've just mentioned. I typically like to do 1, 2, 3 at the back, 4 just around this area, and maybe another pulse point. There are some people who like to spray fragrance on their clothes just so that it can have that lingering effect. But you know, I would advise that you check you test it on a piece of on either the underside of your shirt, just to see that it won't leave a mark, because some of the heavier fragrances tend to leave a stain or a mark on clothing. So be careful with spraying it on clothes. I'm not saying you don't do that, but you know, each to their own. I know which fragrances will work well on clothes and which don't, but again, keep it minimal, keep it sophisticated, and know that the better you smell, the higher your chances of engaging people and them doing favors for you. I would love to go on about fragrances. In fact, for me, speaking about fragrances and not being able to talk about my favorite fragrance and stuff like that is a challenge. But like I said, this is something that I'm thinking about. I might get into a fragrance series on this Get Yours channel for those who are fragrance enthusiasts like myself. Let's engage, let's keep talking. I will say, for those of you who are in Kenya, in Nairobi, there are certain places that I like to go to get fragrances. I am particular about Fragrance Lounge. There are a chain of fragrance shops all over Nairobi, as well as obviously Linton's Beauty and Pharmacy, and you know, we'll try and link and provide links to those in the coming days. But yeah, wherever it is that you get your fragrances. And one more thing, it is a bit of an expensive agenda, and that's why I mentioned having a signature, having these 4 fragrances. It should be enough for you, but if you're like me and you like to collect, then power to you. But the last thing that I will say is, it is a bit of an investment, but it's definitely worth your while. Keep watching, keep sharing, keep subscribing. Remember, all I want you to do is get yours.